Welcome to Get Moving TV. I'm Dr. Chris Landon, and I serve as your host. Here in Ventura County, we have many things going on. We have an innovation center. We have lots of service clubs with love and service. We have Lions, Kiwanis, Optimists, Rotary Club, all kinds of things where people are working in their communities, working to remake their community a better place. City Center, with the homeless women who are finally being reunited with their children now that they have a place to live. So through the Innovation Center down at the Ventura County Community Foundation, I was fortunate enough to meet a number of people, among them being Paymon, who's a guest today. And we got talking in the hall just about, well, love and service and some things that he wanted to get done. So we're going to go over a couple of things. So Paymon, welcome to Get Moving TV.
Thank you so much for inviting me, Dr. Landon.
And so you live in Ojai, and I got a chance to see the cows and the sheep and the fig trees, but also a family that you really worked on, letting them know that love and service is part of their lives as well and in the future. What kinds of projects are you working on now? We've got certainly well, tell us a little bit about your background, and we'll put that in perspective.
Of course. I am an attorney right now and the founder of Chosen Lawyers, which is a communication platform for lawyers who are willing to serve their communities on a very personal and loving and caring level. And it's been a very sort of, how can I say, a very close encounter with who I am and what I am trying to do with my own life. It's more of a career, it's more of a corporation, it's a calling for me. And in order for us to do some positive things in our communities and in our world, for that matter, we get involved in many causes. And one of them is a visual legal dictionary. I know it's a mouthful, but it's the world's first visual legal dictionary, I might add. I've been working on it for about 6 years now. And in this case, we are putting together about 4,000 legal terms in very simple ways, and then have lawyers to define them in their own field of practice. And then with the help of people, talented people that I met here, hopefully, we're going to animate them. We're going to utilize graphics, sound, music, whatever that it takes to define legal terms and sort of demystify that heavy jargons that even some lawyers don't understand, let alone lay people. And to me, that's empowering the people. And that is really what weaves together our society. It's our legal system, it's our justice system. And if people don't understand the legal terms, it's very hard to deal with them. And in the long run, this also helps us prevent from certain frivolous lawsuits that are being filed by people who don't really understand their own positions, the consequences of their own actions, and they clog up our justice system. And more than that, also, we are trying to bring in lawyers into our platform that collectively we basically help everyone. And that is the essence of our Constitution, that it's supposed to be there for the voiceless and the defenseless. And we're finding innovative ways to actually make that a reality.
I was just on jury duty, and that's, of course, everybody's terror that I'm going to be on jury duty in a 3-month-long murder trial or whatever. And the start of the day, they had 48 cases, and the jury room was filled to overflowing, so they could fill all those courtrooms. And then by noon, they were down to 33. And then by 3 o'clock, they were down to 12, and then by 3:30, they're down to 0, because so much of it occurs not in the chamber, but just the negotiations just outside. Do you see this kind of a better understanding by the plaintiffs and the defendants that just understanding the terms better, understanding the law better is going to keep us from having all those cases?
I think you're correct, yes. After all, if we know what we are facing, then we would probably settle a lot of these cases prior to even get anywhere. And so, yes, it will help.
Well, what you and I have talked about your underlying engine, I guess, for chosen lawyers is personal injury. You and I were on the highway there because, well, tell us what kind of injury occurs as people throw a beer bottle, because I picked up, I don't know, 2 beer bottles and aluminum foil. Truckers were honking. I'm hoping was appreciation, I think so, for that orange jacketed, helmeted. So what can we do to be better, I don't know, custodians of our own highways?
Dr. Landon, you were a great picker, by the way. That is one of our sort of standing for causes. Yes, our platform has personal injury lawyers, very good ones, in fact, as well. And but the main purpose for us cleaning roads is actually twofold. Number one is humility. Everybody wants to talk about compassion and humility. To us, these are not words, I don't know, they're not nouns, they are verbs, they are actions, and we try to actually show it by doing it. Number two, I don't know if you know this, but about 96,000 accidents happen on our roads because of falling objects from other vehicles or junk on the road. Because people swerve, they try not to hit, I don't know, a glass or a falling ladder. We've seen everything. And about 19,000 people get injured by these preventable accidents. About 900 people die because of this. In fact, I read in a report that a 29-year-old young man who was driving with his wife, and a little piece of metal fell from a truck and basically pierced through his windshield and killed him right away. Obviously, dead people can't drive, so he swerved into an oncoming traffic, and his wife almost died as well. So I think we all can reduce at least these accidents by spending 5-10 more minutes of our time securing our cargo to see, if something is falling, if our vehicles are unsafe, we should make sure that they are safe, they are roadworthy. And we should do it because it's the law. We could be criminally liable as well as civilly liable if we do that, because our negligence causes injury to others. Our laws hold us liable. And as lawyers, we are trying to raise awareness to help people, those who just rush onto our roads, that these roads are our arteries. And as a doctor, you know what happens to people with clogged arteries. And that's one of the other causes that we are trying to make a change in this world.
So you're doing this under Caltrans, I guess?
Yes, yes. The good people of Caltrans have basically giving us the opportunity to have our signs, because we don't do traditional advertising. Our awareness are the signs online or word of mouth from people we help every day in all fields of law, by the way. And they are giving us this opportunity, and we are hoping that some good people like yourself give us a hand from time to time. We are looking for volunteers, by the way. If people want to come and help us, they can always contact me personally. And we go and clean our roads proudly.
So how many of these sites do you have? What's the commitment?
The commitment is, well, it's a contractual commitment that you have to sign with Caltrans. I believe it's for 5 years, and you've got to clean certain allocated or designated areas twice per month. So that's basically it. But our main purpose really is to create that awareness, to clean up and create that awareness, because we all can make a difference if we want to.
Well, let me circle back to the Legal Visual Dictionary, and you met earlier today with Kathy.
Wonderful lady.
And so people just don't understand what we have here and what's available for nonprofits, and that the students need projects. So what kind of things did you guys talk about as potentials? Because again, some of these students come in with more capabilities than others. Some are just coming in and learning to the test, I guess.
Well, I spoke to Kathy. She was gracious enough to show me around, to introduce me to some of your creative people, the creative people here. And I think there is a great potential that we can basically produce the whole visual legal dictionary with this place's help. They are highly talented. They have pretty much all the equipment we need. They have a studio. So the whole idea is that we get lawyers to contribute, to donate some funds and some of their time, and bring them hopefully here or shoot them in their offices to define legal terms in very simple ways. And I explained it to them. This is what, and they were all happy to be a part of this. And obviously, we are not planning, we are not expecting to sell it or generate any revenue. So we will be asking for donations from everyone, whomever that wishes to help, because informed people are good generally, and we should try, at least.
Well, one thing, when I try and teach doctors, we had a 30-minute video, we had a 1-hour video, I shut to 30 and finally down to 10, and unless there's a cat in it somewhere, nobody really watches it anymore. So we're really down to these 1 to 3 minute micro lessons that we try and get things across as quickly as possible. And then everybody's used to some pretty high-level, sophisticated production. What kinds of things did you guys talk about in terms of making it visually appealing and that really show off the capabilities of the students?
Well, you touched upon it beautifully, and as they say, a picture tells 10,000, or better than 10,000 words, but we want to use 10,000 pictures to define one word. The whole idea is we're not going to just define it and let a lawyer says, for example, what is assault or what is burglary. We want to define it in context and then give examples with the help of animations, graphics, and these people are fantastic. They can help. And in fact, most businesses should utilize the services here, because I was so impressed. Everyone is very eager to help, and but creatively, that's the whole point. I don't want to get, I graduated from film school myself, so I did TV animation for a long time. And I'm trying to utilize all of my experience together with people like Kathy, yourself, and the rest of the people here, and hopefully to produce this visual dictionary that everyone can have access to free of charge.
And also, Ventura, we want businesses to hire the kids who graduate from here with these incredible skills that they've developed while they
Of course.
develop materials for Paymon.
Of course. So to me, gift of knowledge, accurate knowledge, is very important. In fact, I tell people and I say, if knowledge is power, accurate knowledge of law is the ultimate power, especially in a democracy, especially in a system that prides itself on rule of law, liberty, and pursuit of happiness.
Well, Paymon, thank you so much for joining us today.
My pleasure.
And we really look forward to helping you with your visual dictionary, and we'll watch the signs on the way to Santa Barbara for chosenlawyers.com. We'll find a way to volunteer to help with the highways, preventing those accidents. We'll stop throwing beer bottles out the window. We'll tie down ladders and pieces of wood and really make the world a better place.
I do appreciate it, and you could get a big hefty ticket if a police officer sees that you do dropping
All right.
willingly.
Right,
Well, thank you so much.
Ventura, we'll be right back. Ventura, welcome back. Again, we have the Innovation Center here in Ventura County, but I really try and keep track of new technologies. We have a technology center both here in Ventura County, but when I'm at the HIMSS, we have the Intelligent Health Pavilion. When I'm at the North American Cystic Fibrosis Conference, we have an Innovation Center. So in keeping track of all these things, one of the things that happened in 2005 was I was invited back to the National Institute of Health for the Iraqi war dividend. What can we do in terms of for people who've had amputations due to the Iraq war? Is there any good that can come out of that? So one of the things that we've followed, I was looking at very carefully, was something in 2004 that I saw coming out of Japan. So with me today, Taku, you've welcome to the United States here.
Thank you.
And so just how did you get involved with Cyberdyne, more than them just making the Terminator and coming back from the future there? What was your, have you been with the company since 2004 or?
It's been 7 years for me to work as a salesperson for Cyberdyne Inc. Before that, I was also a salesperson for CNC turning machine.
Oh.
And driving around the Kentucky, Tennessee, Indiana. And after the 9/11, the economy turned down. I experienced it. Also, Japan had a big earthquake, and the economy got upside down. So I had to go back to Japan. And at the time, what I experienced is I need to pursue the most developed, the cutting edge technology. That's why I found this job, and that's why I started this job. And what is great about this device is to help the patients, neurologically handicapped the patients, to move again. That is why. That is very motivates me.
And I think that motivates your founder too. Is the population in Japan is getting more elderly. There's more neurologic dysfunction there. In the United States, we don't have all the indications that you do in Japan. But what's been approved by the FDA in terms of the device that you have with you today?
What FDA approves so far for marketing clearance? Basically this is approved as the device to help spinal cord injury patients to do the gait training inside the medical institutions under the supervision of the medical professionals, like the physiatrist or the physical therapist. Yes.
Is it? I see you have what looks to be an awfully fancy Apple wristwatch there. Are you hooked up to the device now?
Yes, not right now,
No, I understand.
physically not
Yes,
connected.
yes, yes.
Yet yes, I can show you how to move. Yes.
So how does it work? Does people have to have an operation and have sensors embedded in their muscles, or how does this work?
First of all, this device is very unique. It's not invasive. It's very safety. We just use electromyography electrode and put on the surface of the skin on the lower limb and get the signal. When patients try to move, the brain sends a signal, very faint one, to the muscles to contract. When it's trying to move, it's firing over the skin. Then we catch those very faint signal and they amplify it to change the motor torque. Let's say in a simpler way, smaller intention to bigger motor, the torque, the bigger voluntary movement for the patients, let's say.
I just, when I was a kid, there was Robert Heinlein as a science fiction author, and there's a character, I think it was called Wally, and he was had neuromuscular dysfunction. He was incredibly wealthy, so he'd launched himself into outer space, and even with the small movements, he could magnify them. So he had giant hands that were the size of this building, so he could fight off spaceships or whatever. So to see this now, whatever that would be, 60 years later, that the future does occur. Is anyone using it now in the United States?
Yes, it is. If there is, we have the business partner, the clinical partner. It's in Jacksonville, Florida, Brooks Rehabilitation Center. They clinically use this device for spinal cord injury patients every day.
And so these are residents of Florida, or is this with the Veterans Administration?
It's basically for wide open for everybody in the United States. Even from they sometimes accept these patients internationally too.
So locally, because this is, I guess, relatively new to the United States in terms of putting it into a rehabilitation center, how do you go about seeing more of these devices in rehabilitation? I know you've come to me. It's just, I see the neuromuscular disease patients, but that's a use that will be a little further out. We have a spinal cord injury patient, Eddie Tuduri, and in his rehabilitation after a horrendous body surfing accident, he's a professional drummer, and essentially he was paralyzed from the neck down. And his neurosurgeon said, "You're never going to play the drums again." And now he was just in my house playing the drums with studio musicians at a party we had. And some of that is the will up here. So just not having that feeling of hopelessness that I'm never going to return any function.
Well, my biggest dilemma as a salesperson is definitely device lag. And let's say we have technology, and we are knowing our technology can be possibly be widely accepted for the various kind of symptoms and diseases patients. For example, in Japan, this device is nationally accepted as a medical device for neuromuscular disease patients, such as muscular dystrophy patients, the myopathy patients, to prevent their function to going down. And also covered with the national insurance. That is a very big point. I would like to knock on the door of the medical doctors in the United States to accept to enlarge the possibility of this device as much as possible.
Is there anything that you can demonstrate to us now?
Sure. So usually I put the electrode on the lower limb of the patients, but today I put the electrode onto my arms just to show how it's going to move. So let's say this is cyborg type robot, we say. Oh, this is a cyborg type robot. And so which means human is the center. According to your signal, this device is moved. This device is not going to move your leg. You move this device. Let's see. So if I bend, it's going to bend. If I extend, it's going to extend. If I go slowly, it's going to go slowly. So can you see? It totally moves according with my will. So you can imagine stroke patients can get more power, active power, in earlier stages.
Yes. So during the rehabilitation, they're able to power up.
But that is just not, it's not yet approved by FDA.
Yes.
But there's a possibility, and so many doctors working on to examine that possibilities. And we are doing the big clinical study for that. It's totally signal activating. So if I send a signal, it goes like this. And we have, based on the frequency analysis, we can catch the very faint signal, which means very severely disabled people. We can help, possibly.
Well, very good. Thank you so much. So Ventura County, we need to get this device here for our disabled individuals and habilitate them.